U.S.-Mexican border. Mexican cartels now dominate a billion-dollar industry exporting undocumented migrants.
We got guns. It's to protect us. Protect them.
Fail to pay the bill, and the deal goes sour. Fast.
These migrants are not a human being to them.
Stripped of their dignity, migrants are bought and sold.
It is what it is. It's prostitution. Who's not going to pay for sex?
But if the cash flow stops...
If you don't pay us what we need, you won't see your family no more.
Pima County Morgue, Arizona.
We have about 120 remains inside this cooler.
Bagged and tagged, undocumented migrants who didn't make it.
Here we have a case from 2013, identified as a John Doe. Here we have another, and we just have it listed as Doe. Remains down here that say they're unidentified.
They all died crossing the border desert.
Here's just an example of fragmented remains, where we have labeled 14, which means the remains were found in 2014. So we don't have listed as a man or woman. Here is just cranium. These are where the eyes are located. We no longer have a mandible. And you can see that the bone is weathered and sun-bleached and has been on the surface of the desert.
Nogales, Mexico, right on the U.S. border. Migrants are drawn to Nogales by its reputation as the center of a people smuggling operation. On the ground, it's Francisco's job to keep his clients out of the morgue.
Yo ya tengo 7 años en esta organización de pasar gente.
He's a successful coyote. His secret is training.
Y pues muchas veces pasa de que están haciendo mucho escándalo, mucho ruido, todo eso, y llegan y pues los detectan y no.
He trains his clients to hide and survive. They pay up to $5,000 to be smuggled into the USA.
Pues muchas veces ya vienen recomendados por sus mismos parientes que están allá en el otro lado. Yo los tengo que dejar a ellos en un cierto punto donde ellos me están esperando ahí y yo tengo que ir a buscar el agua para que ellos tomen.
For Francisco, this run-through is key. If they don't make it to their destination stateside, he won't get his cut.
Por cada ilegal que yo paso para allá son $200. Cuando son de centroamericanos que le dicen que ya por ello ya me pagan más a mí, $300 o $300.
This trial run teaches them survival skills to help make sure he gets his money.
Vamos a descansar un poco aquí, está haciendo el calor. Ahí les encargo cuando vayamos caminando. Ahorita porque está haciendo mucho calor, de una serpiente que le vaya a picar o algo, son muy venenosas.
He shows them how to evade the U.S. border patrols.
Tenemos que ir borrando la huella, muchas veces pisan como son puras calles de pura terracería. Pisan y ya cuando pisan pues se queda la huella pintada. Si llega a la borda ahí y si llega a ver una huella o algo, te siguen rápido, inmediatamente te tiran el helicóptero y empiezan a buscar. Ya que lo ven, que quedan escondidos hasta 1 hora, 2 horas ahí. Nos echamos ramas encima, sacate, todo lo que podamos, con lo que podamos taparnos de manera de que no nos vean. Pero ahí está la línea luego y ahí vamos a llegar ya para estar nosotros todo y ya no que se va a la borda.
Next time, it'll be for real. He warns his rookies about the border fence.
Cuando ya nos dicen que ya podemos brincar, tenemos que subir los tubos. Son unos tubos de 4 metros más tan altos.
This barrier is designed to stop migrants in their tracks. The climbers will need Francisco's help.
Sí se batalla para subir. Muchas veces hasta se les puede quebrar una pata o algo y ya a ese, ya el que se lastimó o algo, ya se queda ahí.
Any injury takes a bite out of his paycheck.
Yo ya no lo puedo meter para adentro porque es una batalla, pues. Pues ya de ahí tenemos que salir corriendo para adentro para ir a escondernos o algo porque...
If you have the right passport, Nogales to Phoenix is just a couple hours air-conditioned cruise up I-19 and I-10. But for Francisco and his clients, that journey means 5 days on foot in the Sonoran Desert. It's one of the harshest places in North America. At night, it can be a freezer. During the day, an oven. Here, every coyote fights to keep his group alive.
A mí se me han muerto personas en el cerro 2 veces. Una persona ya mayor le dio un paro cardíaco, no aguantó y se me murió en el cerro. Y un chino, una vez un chino y en una helada se me amaneció duro en un árbol. Se murieron en un árbol congelados. Acá en las temperaturas extremas. Y como hace frío, hace calor también, dentro de calor. Ay, te quisiera ver. Son calores feos. Vas, te deshidratas, te andas desmayando de calor, de insolación. Te das con toda la piel cortada del mismo calor que te quema la piel. Si miras una sombra, te tiras sobre ella porque no quieres que te la ganen. Son travesías cortas por el agua y matas si no tienes agua.
For these coyotes, a dead migrant is a failed delivery. Value $0. They just keep moving.
No, pues, ¿qué se va a hacer? No se puede hacer nada.
To beat the desert, migrants must be well prepared. Coyotes tell migrants exactly what key supplies to buy for the journey. Because in Nogales, shopping can save your life.
Aquí traigo las provisiones, las que usamos primero. Son las cosas que se echan a perder rápido con el calor. Lo que es salchichas para los sándwiches. Esas son las cosas que nos debemos de comer los primeros días, porque ya los siguientes días se echan a perder. Tenemos la comida enlatada. Esta nos dura más tiempo.
In the desert, even a minor illness is a medical emergency.
Tenemos también lo que son las medicinas.
A lot of pharmacies in Nogales meet the migrants' needs.
Los vendajes, por si nos llega a ocurrir algún accidente. Tenemos lo que son las pomadas y también tenemos lo que son las pastillas, por si nos llega a doler la cabeza, nos llega a doler el estómago.
In the desert, it's a long way to the ER.
No tenemos que errarle en lo que es la comida o los medicamentos.
The hardware stores are also booming. Even everyday items are essential for the migrants' travel kit.
Mejor si no tienes un spray negro.
¿Negro es el spray que quieres? ¿No quieres agua? ¿Cuántos quieres?
2 galones, ¿no?
The storekeeper knows exactly what the border crossers might want.
Para caminar, sí.
También tenemos zapatos, tenemos ropa camuflajeada. ¿Te sirve esa para...?
Sí, la puedo ver. Sí.
Tenemos
¿Y cuánto cuestan estos?
el traje vale 300 y los zapatos valen 200.
200. Pero no, eso no voy a querer porque nomás no alcanza para esto.
Estos son buenos para el monte. Por ejemplo, si te vas con esa camisa, te miran de bien lejos la migra, pues y...
La verdad no me alcanza para tanto.
Ernesto can't afford a camouflage suit, but he can disguise the clear gallons of water.
Dando los galones de agua, porque no lo llevamos. Lo pintamos de negro, porque cuando nos alusan o si nos llegan a ver, puede reflejarse la luz en los botes y ya pintado de negro, pues ya no se mira nada.
Ernesto jumped the border before, but he was deported. This time the stakes are sky high.
Tengo probation y no puedo tocar Estados Unidos, me dieron 5 años. Si me llegan a agarrar otra vez, me van a dar 2 años de cárcel, 3.
The U.S. Border Patrol throws its main force into catching migrants like Ernesto on the U.S. side of the border.
We have 262 miles of linear border from the east on 2nd, and that right there is probably about 12 miles. That's just one section. Down in the valley, the fence goes along pretty much for as far as we can build the fence easily. Then it stops where the terrain takes over the function of a fence.
A scope truck pinpoints a group of migrants not far from the fence. Timing is crucial.
People on the ground can hear the helicopter within no less than a mile. Just because the scope truck has a target, you don't want to immediately respond to it. You're supposed to scatter that cloud. It actually make grounding them up that much harder. If it's a group of 10, they will run literally in 10 different directions.
The choppers hang back while the ground patrol moves in.
And they'll estimate their time of arrival at the target. You don't want to get there too early. You don't want to get there too late. But once they get ready to pounce, so to speak, they'll call us in so that we all arrive at the same time.
Surprise is key.
They're not expecting us for the helicopter to come in. We can actually jump out of it and catch them. Notice a lot of the aliens are wearing the same kind of camouflage that the agents wear. That's a new trend over the last year and a half. It actually works pretty good for them.
More money and boots on the ground have turned the borderlands into a militarized zone. In Nogales, every Border Patrol success forces the people smugglers to up their game.
Este pueblo parece todo tranquilo, todo normal, pero no es así, no es lo que parece.
To avoid the long arm of the law, illegal migration has gotten organized.
Todo esto está vinculado a mucha mafia, tráfico de armas, tráfico de drogas, tráfico de gente y todo eso.
The cartels control illegal migration here.
Pues muchas veces ya vienen recomendados por sus mismos parientes acá allá en el otro lado.
The cartel squeezes extra cash from the migrants from the get-go.
Ya cuando están ellos en el hotel, se les pide un dinero por adelantado. Que ese dinero lo tienen que pagar cuando ellos salen del hotel. Serían $100 por cada uno. Ya lo pagan y ese dinero se lo pagan a los que los cuidan, pues.
Francisco collects the protection money for the powerful Sinaloa cartel.
Pues nosotros trabajamos con un patrón y él paga lo que es la cuota que le dicen. Ya que paga la cuota, ellos se encargan de que nadie nos moleste ni nada mientras que vamos hacia la frontera.
The cartel then charges up to $1,500 for the first leg of the trip to a pickup in Arizona. Now cartel assets, migrants are jealously guarded.
Entonces ya ellos se encargan de que cuando vamos nosotros a sacar a la gente del hotel, ellos nos van cuidando. Se van por adelante en un carro. Ellos van primero y van y se ponen en un punto y ahí se baja la gente.
The cartels aim to monopolize illegal border crossing. Migrants in Mexico going it alone risk being hunted down.
A veces pasa que los migrantes se quieren ir solos para el otro lado y pues los sicarios los agarran y los matan, les dan un balazo y los dejan tirados en un cerro o ahí en el monte.
Thousands of migrants have to beat the fence just to reach their first objective, a highway. Like Arizona's Route 86. Cutting west to east through the desert, Route 86 runs within 20 miles of the border. Migrants must cover this distance on foot. Agent Balestrea is stalking a small group through the desert.
Here you can see that the fence is manipulated. You can see that these two barbed wires are sitting right next to each other to allow a person to crawl through the barbed wire.
The CBP sweeps the sandy tracks, so new footprints stand out.
Well, you'd see that this footprint was very, very fresh, that a new group had passed through.
She finds clear evidence that migrants have recently passed through. Discarded black water bottles.
The clear gallons reflected sunlight, so in this arid desert could be easily seen. Well, there's one right there. There's one over here. This person tied this water bottle to their backpack. They carry 2 gallons of water. They carry it on their backpack that's already full. That's a lot of weight.
Agent Balestrea's task is to track and arrest the migrants. She has to be quick. She may not find them alive.
When you're walking in 115, 120 degrees, you're going to be sweating more. You're going to be, exhausting all of the liquid inside of you. And so once this water is gone, there aren't any natural water resources.
Agent Balestrea gets a call.
10-4, I'll stand by.
Her colleagues are tracking 3 suspected illegal migrants. She has to go head them off.
Hola, buenas. Toma asiento, ¿ok? ¿Ustedes cruzaron ilegalmente? Sí. Sí? Okay.
Dazed and confused, these men have failed.
Here we came across 3 migrants. Main concern is to make sure that they're in good health and establish their citizenship. ¿De dónde son? Guatemala? Okay. He actually bought those black water bottles in Mexico.
Despite preparation, they've been beaten by the desert.
Entonces, ¿cuántos días andas caminando entonces?
2 días.
2 días. ¿En México o nomás aquí en los Estados Unidos?
Sí, venimos caminando de México una semana.
The Border Patrol has rescued these migrants. Now they investigate.
We determine their nationality. We make sure that they are medically stable. And after that, we will transport them to the closest Border Patrol station. From there, we'll take their biographical information. We'll take their fingerprints. And depending on if they have criminal history, that will determine what will happen from them from here.
These guys won't be getting to Route 86. After due process, odds are they'll be deported. Thousands of migrants find themselves in danger, not just from the desert, but the cartels.
Oftentimes, several times in Mexico, these migrants will be extorted for money. In order to pass through a certain town, they'll be told, you need to pay X amount of dollars. They're oftentimes threatened, and then once they get to the international boundary with, the United States and Mexico, they're often extorted again for more money.
At each step of the way, everyone sucks them dry.
They're looking at these migrants as a symbol of money. That's all that these migrants are. They're not a human being to them.
Tired and hungry, many migrants must reach Route 86. A cartel taxi picks up these migrants and drives them to their next destination, a stash house in the Phoenix suburbs. They vanish into traffic in minutes. This crucial ride is the next link in the chain.
As long as they got a border, I'm in business. As long as there's a way to make money off of cats that want a little bit of freedom, want a taste of our life, drive around in nice cars, buy nice things, I want a piece of that too.
Vicente runs a busy stash house operation in Phoenix, Arizona, 2.5 hours drive from the border on the interstate. For many migrants, Phoenix is the gateway to America.
We run in 20 cats a week, at least. So you figure about $5,000 per person. It's a lot of money. And at the end of the week, we get paid, just like you guys do. Take a small percentage, a small cut.
Vicente believes the CBP's efforts keep him in business.
You got that big-ass wall. They just make the gates bigger, longer, higher, more dangerous. You make it harder for them, you make it easier for us. So we're gonna find a way around it. We're gonna make money doing it.
Vicente picks up groups of illegal border crossers and delivers them to a stash house in the Phoenix suburbs.
Just buy a house. We got realtors. We got car dealerships. That's how we get vehicles, like the one we're driving in now. So we just work our resources. Got a lot of people out there working for us. Normal people. So every 30 days we're in a new spot. We don't stay one place too long. That's the way you get caught. All right, I'm gonna need everyone to get out.
Vicente holds them in the stash house until their families pay the second half of the smuggling fee.
This is one of the good spots. They're here, they're safe. Young ones, very delicate parcel. Yeah, we got guns, but it's not for them. It's for the other people. It's for people who's trying to harm us. Just protect us. Protect them.
Every hour Vicente holds the migrants in the stash house costs him money.
We got Mama in the back cooking. She holds it down. Make sure everybody's fed. Make sure everybody's clean. I mean, we got young ones, old ones. Everybody loves candy, sweets. We got pillows, blankets. We got wheelchairs in case they come in hurt. They can't get moving. 5 days of walking in the desert. Some of them they got bad feet, bad legs, bad backs. When they get here, they can't move. We help them out. They're gonna make some phone calls. Let their family know that they're safe. They made it to this site okay.
Vicente paints a pretty picture.
They enjoy themselves. They'll be out tomorrow. On to a new place, to a new location, to a new spot. Might be destination end. That's the plan anyways.
But plans go wrong. If a migrant's U.S. family can't pay, everything changes. In a heartbeat, people smuggling switches to people trafficking.
We got numerous businesses where these guys, these ladies, can work off their debt. Men, we use them for labor. Females, they work real good in entertainment. So, those are their options.
Women are forced to work as strippers, lap dancers, or prostitutes. Until they pay, they're prisoners.
I ain't a bad person. Might have to do some bad things. But that's every person. A person hasn't had to make a choice. The choice is to do what we do. Make a living for our family. Do this for my kids. It ain't never gonna stop. Freedom ain't free. As long as it ain't free, we're gonna get paid off of it.
Nothing is allowed to interrupt the cash flow in this business. If the family can't pay for freedom, the cartel, just like a bank with a subprime mortgage, might sell the debt on. For women, it's extra tough.
You gotta be smart, you gotta be about it. It is what it is. It's prostitution. Who's not going to pay for sex? A month, you could be making 20 G's. You could be making $1 million. You know, it really just depends.
The women are modern-day slaves, held by slave masters. The armed security guy is on edge and turns on the film crew. The security guy is frustrated with the interview. It takes time, and time is money.
We're in a very successful operation here.
They're all right now. You just watch the girls and you know what I'm saying? We're going to try to do this real quick.
He makes sure the girls are not seen or heard.
I'm really picky on who I keep. I'm not trying to have them rowdy ass trying to jump out, trying to cause some drama down the street. We try to keep it as low-key as possible, as quiet as possible.
Magdalena has her own way of keeping the girls in line.
You keep them high, you keep them happy, they're cool. They're gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're going to shut up. Our network, you know, there's houses everywhere throughout the United States.
Sex for sale is one thing, but Magdalena buys and sells women wholesale.
Sometimes you might have somebody who's like, hey, I really want them girls. I'll give you this amount of money. They take them girls out of there. You might have somebody say, hey, I got a shipment of girls. They need a place to stay. You willing to work with them?
Work can mean turning up to 45 tricks a day with any John sent to a girl's room.
I like personally dealing with girls that are willing. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't do any where they like kidnap them girls and like forcing them into the, I'm not with that part. That's, you know, somebody else.
And you don't come here against your will like the lady says. You come here because you are seeking an opportunity. And this is an opportunity. We are equal opportunity employers.
It's equal opportunities from the barrel of a gun.
3 años trabajé en esto, en Nogales. Y de ahí conocí a un señor que tenía dinero y me prometió buena vida. Le pagamos la mitad. Y le dijimos que ya que llegáramos aquí, trabajábamos y a ver cómo le hacíamos para pagar la otra mitad, pero no funcionó así.
Carmen was now an asset on the balance sheet.
Pero crucé el desierto por caminé 8 días. Y pues de comer solamente nos dieron una bolsita con pan y los que no lo hacían, los dejaban ahí, no les importaba. Nos subieron a un troque y de ahí nos llevaron a una casa y ni sé cuántos días fueron, puedan de ser como 2 días, 3 días en una casa.
Her rich pimp welched on the deal.
Y pues ahí pues nadie vino por nosotros o nos regalaron o nos vendieron, quién sabe.
To get their money, the stash house sold her on.
Nada más nos dijeron van a trabajar por esta gente para pagar la otra mitad. Supongo que ellos pagaron la otra mitad y la estamos pagando ahorita.
So now Carmen owes these guys and must work.
Sometimes she could be doing real sloppy. She could bring in a couple hundred a week. If she's doing fantastic and she's, you know, down to do whatever it takes, she might pull in a couple of G's a week.
Carmen's worked here 3 years. She must have repaid her debt many times over.
Once they're done with their debt, you know, they're free to leave if they'd like. If not, a lot of them stay because they don't know nothing else.
Everybody can come and walk away from this if the price is right, because numbers are numbers here.
How big the debt is now, no one's saying.
No sé, pero nos dicen cuando ya está pagada la deuda.
The boss calls time to give the girls the opportunity to work some more.
Yo quiero un futuro y yo quiero salir de esto, quiero salir adelante. Aquí miro a la gente y hay otra vida. Es todo.
The dream of a better life can quickly turn into a nightmare, whether for lack of cash or lack of water. In the desert, over 50 miles north of the border, a cell phone calls 911.
He's alone and been without water for 2 hours, been in the desert 6 days, and the water tower is north of him but very far away, and he's got 3 bars left on his phone battery.
What we've got from the call is he had no more bars left on his phone, and now
that's gonna be
911 dispatch has tried to get back in touch with him, and the phone is dead, so we're going to do our best to try to locate this guy.
In a joint operation with CBP, the Maricopa County Sheriff's helicopter diverts to make a mercy dash. Without water, the caller has only a limited time to live.
If he's actually calling in 911, that means he is.
Out of water, in the desert, a lost migrant calls 911 on his cell phone. For the CBP and the local sheriff's office, it's a race to find him alive.
I don't believe he's walking at this point. He says that he's about 2 miles away from the water tower.
The cell signal pinpoints him, and the chopper locks in.
Hey, Ryan, we put those numbers in. It's putting us down here by the corrals.
From the air, there's no sign of him. Ground patrols scour the area.
Hey, those cords put us right there in the area of that corral. I guess we'll just start checking trees.
They spot a border patrol truck speeding through the dust.
They have him? Is that what they said? I don't see him. I don't know. Where are you at? Like, you know, the helicopter.
He's found resting in the shade of a tree. Over a mile from where they expected. The CBP officer brings him a gallon of water and saves his life. The stretcher won't be needed today.
¿Cuándo fue la última vez que tomaste esa agua?
No pude llegar al destino del agua. Por eso. No me ayudó a llegar hasta allá. Se me acabaron las fuerzas. Más que nada. Y sin comida se debilita uno sin esa agua.
After an investigation, he will likely be deported, but it could have been worse. Others are also hunting strays in the desert. Two more migrants have been picked up by a notorious cartel gang.
Warning, you have triggered the alarm system. Your movements are being recorded.
They are on red alert for attacks from rival traffickers. Their cartel has plenty of enemies.
My life's on the line. I'm going to do by all means what I have to protect myself as well as my organization. You have people who feel revengeful because we get rid of their family members because they're not cooperating, so they seek revenge. They try to get other cartels against us.
They will defend their merchandise against all comers.
Tamaulipas. Eso sí, jefe. Para su gente. Se necesitan mucho. Y no tenerle miedo a la muerte.
This is more than just a stash house. It's a busy cartel transit facility. And today's consignment of people has been imported, paid for, and shipped out. But 2 migrants are left on the shelf.
Habíamos como 15, pero ya como todos tienen familias aquí, ya pagaron y ya se fueron ellos. Ya no nos quedamos nosotros.
Arturo was too poor to afford the cartel package. He went solo. But a gang soon took what money he had.
Y yo pagué 500 pesos para que me dejaran cruzar el río Bravo. Si no les quiere pagar uno, pues lo roban a uno, lo matan y le echan al río. Y pues ellos me cruzaron, pero yo les doy 500 pesos. Y ya de allí, pues yo ya solo ya me viene por el norte.
Without organized support, he quickly faced dying of thirst.
Yo caminé como 4 o 5 días y pues ya andaba cansado y salí a la carretera a ver si me daban un raite.
He turned to the highway for salvation, but fell into the hands of a ruthless cartel gang.
Y me encontré estos hombres que me dijeron que me meterían para eso, pero me iban a cobrar como 1,500. Y pues yo no tengo dinero, ¿verdad? Pues mi tío vive aquí y ahorita le hablé y dijo que a ver si podía conseguir mañana un dinero pues para que me dejaran ir. Me están cobrando un dinero y como pues no tengo dinero, no me han soltado.
The cartel is holding Arturo for ransom, looking for extra money to add to their regular people smuggling business.
Que cuando esto venga la gente y los compre, se van. Y cuando me den mi dinero, esos también se van. Así de fácil.
You have family in Mexico, you want them here, you pay us the right amount and we'll have them here for you. We'll bring them here, you don't pay us what we need, and we'll take care of the rest. You won't see your family no more.
If your family can't pay, the cartel will sell you to anyone with the money.
I'm most certainly the crazy thing I've seen is children. I mean, I have children, and, yeah, but business is business. And there ain't no room for sympathy. We had situations where someone took a different child other than theirs and left theirs here, so, I mean, we're just here. You bring us our money, we're going to give you a person. That's all we're doing. We're not here to keep inventory.
They are here to make money, and they are determined to hold on to their stock.
If someone tries to escape, there's consequences. They'll go without eating for a couple of days. They'll get water maybe. If not, we got a trailer back there that they'll stay in, and we'll discipline them by all means. Starving, beating, and we hit them with boards, just depends.
If you're gonna bring heat on us, we're gonna bring heat on you.
The wrecked trailer is a punishment cell for breaking cartel rules.
Si quieres ver algo, métete esa trailer. Y se quedan mientras que pagan su dinero. Pagando aquí, si quieren, se pueden ir a un hotel. A mí solo lo que me importa es mi dinero y que me lo paguen cuando yo digo.
Migrants find they've made a deal with the devil.
Y al tiempo de que tú firmas tu contrato y me dices que quieres venirte para acá, mi gente va a arriesgar todo lo que tenga de su poder para poder traerte. Tú llegas aquí, tú me pagas aquí. Tú llegas aquí y no me pagas aquí. Muchas cosas pueden pasar. Muchísimas.
For the cartels, migrants are assets to be repackaged and stored in stash houses, just like any other goods. Stash houses are a problem throughout the border states. In Houston, Texas, Special Agent Pierre Perry of Immigration and Customs Enforcement is on his way to check on a former stash house. He busted it just 6 months ago.
This was a site of aliens being held at a stash house. We're just going to make sure that they haven't gone back into business.
Smugglers are known to reuse busted stash houses once the coast is clear.
Right now, we just pulled up to the house, and they appear to have closed the gate. There's a new padlock on here that we didn't find that first day.
People smugglers squeeze these assets for all the money they can get, gambling that the U.S. family won't call for help. But sometimes, they get it wrong.
A lady and her child had paid approximately $10,000 to be transported into the U.S. Upon getting here to Houston and after paying that money, these smugglers then told them that they had to pay an additional $13,000. And if they didn't pay that $13,000, then they wouldn't see their family members again.
In desperation, her relatives did call the cops. Most stash houses hold about 10 people, but the stash house Agent Perry busted was on a whole different scale.
There were so many people that we couldn't get an accurate count. As more people began to come out, we saw that it was a final count of 115, of which were about 20 kids. This is by far the largest amount of people I've ever seen held.
The people were in a pitiful condition. Inside, the house was a nightmare.
As I come back here, it does bring back some of the memories of that day.
This never-before-aired footage, shot by ICE agents moments after the raid, left them shocked.
When you got into the house, being that the bathroom did not work, the smell of feces, urine, sweat, the body odor of aliens who had been walking through the desert and here without the ability to take showers and clean up, just was an overwhelming stench. It makes you sick to your stomach.
Soy teniente con el departamento de policía. Entendimos que estabas aquí prisionero, ¿no? Sí. ¿Para cuánto tiempo estabas aquí dentro?
Tenía 5 días.
¿De dónde eres?
Honduras.
De Honduras. ¿Y te trasladaron aquí de Honduras?
De Honduras, de Reynosa para aquí, sí.
Sí. ¿Y cuánto te costó de dinero?
6,000. Nos trajeron en la madrugada, en la noche. Nosotros no habíamos ni por dónde entramos, creo que entramos por allá atrás. Y luego nos quitaron toda la ropa, todo sobre el boxe. Y nos arrinconaron a patadas así, dándose para allá y todos en fila. Habíamos como 50 en un solo cuarto.
The captors had rifles, handguns, and tasers to subdue the migrants. They beat them too.
¿Qué hicieron con eso?
Con esa tabla, cuando uno no les quería hacer caso, les hacían humilde, lo ponían de espalda y así le daban.
¿Así? Sí. ¿Y cuántas veces pegaban a la gente?
Hasta 3.
3 veces.
Okay. Y te vamos a tablear, le decían a uno, que si no te quedas quieto, te vamos a tablear y salir un señor con una tabla.
With plywood nailed over the windows, it's a prison. The neighbors didn't see a thing.
Aquí lo desvestían, metía zapatos en una bolsa, en otra, y si uno estaba lento, salía un señor con una tabla y se la pedía, ¿quién no va a hacer caso? Y lo empujaba, lo agarraba a patadas y le daba.
Ok. ¿Y después qué hicieron después de eso?
Que lo desvestían a uno, a veces lo pasaban ahí, a veces llevaban la ropa. Y a veces lo metían acá y agarraban la ropa para que uno no la pudiera agarrar. No lo dejaban darse ni un baño ni nada. Para ir al servicio había que pedirles hasta permiso, si querían le daban, si no, no.
Phoning relatives is normally part of the relocation package. Here, you got more abuse.
Ahí se sentaba el tipo que nos dejaba llamar, se sentaba ahí y uno no podía hacer sino hasta aquí. Okay. Y hazte para allá y aquí no puede pasar.
Sí, te quedas aquí prisionero.
Si no hacía caso, casi lo agarraba patada y le llevaba hasta allá uno.
Most of the migrants were deported. Some did remain in the U.S. as material witnesses.
We take a lot of pride and joy in our ability to rescue these people and to save them from these situations.
The 5 perpetrators were caught, tried, and found guilty of firearms offenses and conspiring to harbor and transport illegal aliens. They got from 9 to 11 years in jail.
It appears to be vacant right now, or at least a tier. We'll probably just put it back on our rotation to come back around in a couple months to see whether or not anybody has come back in there and reoccupied it, or if they're back to running their organization again.
At the cartel stash house where the 2 migrants are being held, Arturo is waiting for his uncle to come up with the cash. He's in a bad place.
Pues realmente no sé. Estos hombres son peligrosos. Son peligrosos estos son.
Once the smuggler's asset, Arturo now risks becoming overstock.
Ahorita como ves, tengo esos 2.
David doubts whether both of them can pay.
Uno me va a pagar y el otro no. Pero para mañana tienen que pagar.
The cartel members take them away.
Te digo, no les estamos comprando cerveza. Todos los días. ¡Vámonos!
Whoever comes up with the cash will be released. And if Arturo's uncle doesn't pay up, he faces an uncertain future.